Okay, Jaden, you ready? Okay. So, just because I'm up here, I'll go first. So the theme was what home means to you. So I created the game, Home is Where I Hate Myself. Go ahead. Javen did the art, and he did the music, so I'm going to let him play it. I felt when they announced the theme and everything, they were really forcing down your throat this positive, lovey-dovey, home is where you're safe, home is where you're happy, home is where love is. And I felt like they were forcing me to make a certain type of game, so I chose to rebel against that. When I was in college, I had a lot of roommate problems, and so home was a place of instability and confusion, and so that's what influenced me to make my game. I used RPG Maker to make everything, and I'll just let Javen play it. And if you guys got any questions while it's going on, just throw up the hands. Okay, so just go talk to him. So these, okay. You chose to stare into his eyes. It's getting really uncomfortable. Should you stop? So one of the keynotes that we didn't have time to watch, the presenters were like, how about a game instead of conflict or violence, you stare into somebody's eyes, or you reread your favorite book? And again, I just really wanted to rebel against that and say, all right, I'll take your ideas, but I'll make them all about conflict. I'll make them all have violent outcomes. So that's where the choices of how you deal with your roommates and destroy your roommates works. So Javen, by luck, just clicking through, got the first answer. You were supposed to stare into the golem-like character's eyes and melt his brain. So here's next our heavy metal singer. All those choices again came from the keynote video. So if you think they don't make sense or they're stupid, like, I might agree with you. I was like, I'm taking them all from the keynote. Oh, were you playing him some Justin Bieber? Try it again. Don't stop. I know, I told you I'd let you play it. I got like 2.5 minutes. We'll destroy this roommate, and then I'll start to stop it. And I kind of have some fake cursing and stuff. I was going to go M for mature, but okay. Try to talk to him again. So, yeah, I didn't complete the full vision. I wanted 4 roommates. There's only 3. You've seen how to destroy 2 of them. I'm afraid to go ahead and go up there and talk to the 3rd one. I don't want to spoil how you destroy this one. I actually really toned down the language and the violence for a while. Okay, so I'll stop that there. Thank you, Javen. If you want to play the game, if you guys know, do you guys know itch.io? Itch, like you have an itch.io. It's a place where people can upload like indie games. So a lot of you guys are probably using this to upload your games. Just search for John Sensei. That's me, and you'll recognize me by my little Final Fantasy character that Javen also drew, and it's under my profile. So that's where you can play it right now, and I'm going to work on it again up until the meetup. So thank you all. If you have any questions, let me know. We're going to get work on. Christopher's going to work on setting up Gur's station. John Saba, you'll be next up here at this station.
Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Awesome. And it's awesome. Cool. All right. So hello, everyone. I'm Gur, and I am the team representative for the Frustration Station featuring the Jeff. So the game theme this year, of course, was what home means to me. And as I said from the beginning, to me, home is about doing chores and how much I don't want to do them, and sometimes how I have to do them. And so we decided to take the perspective of being a parent, getting ready for your grandparents to come over, and having to clean the house and making sure it's clean by the time they get there. Some limitations we had was starting out, VR, always a little iffy to try to work out mechanics and rule sets for. We brought in the Windows Speech Library API, so we could do speech recognition, so that way you could scream at your kids and tell them to do things. Always fun. And the third thing is, we had a large team of people who had either had little or no experience with Unity, programming, art, anything like that. So what you're going to see today, and of course I did help guide them along the way and did some heavy lifting on things, but in reality, this was a team of where the majority was a lot of novices. And although they were novice, what we really pushed out was something awesome, and I'm really proud to show it. So without further ado, here is the game, Because I Said So. Kids. Kids. Do the dishes. Clean the bathroom. Clean the bathroom. As you can see, it's a little bit iffy. Windows Speech has some kinks in it, for sure. But overall, it was actually quite easy to implement. Sweep the floor. And this is the problem, because it's sweep the floors, and you have to be really specific. Do the dishes. Get ready for the best noise ever. And there we go. And that was... Love the topic, love the team I got to work with. You all are fantastic, just the best. And very quickly, I just wanted to show you something really quick. Here we go. Really a little piece here about Windows Speech input. It's really not that difficult at all. If any of you want to reach out to me to get my code on how I did this, feel free. All I did was pretty boilerplate dictation recognition. And once it recognized something, I invoked it and brought it over here to my command manager. And there I just had it do a big old switch case, where I said, do the dishes, do the laundry, clean the bathroom, because I said so. Game title. And invoked a method based on the result I got. So it's really, when you break it down, not that hard to do. And I would love to see a lot of you in the future going ahead and using a lot of these non-traditional game mechanics and types of interaction. All right. Thank you, everyone.
I'm John. And we made a game called Laika. Shout out to Jake for the name. Laika is the first dog in space, I think. And when I think of home, I think of coming home to my animals. It's the best thing. So this is a game about going to rescue your dog. And Nolan is going to play for us. Demonstrating the quick stop feature, which is very, very exciting. And minefields, you don't die yet, you can't die, but there's explosions. Check out the mini-map. Okay, so we picked up the dog. Yeah, there's a gravity around the planets, which is why it's sort of hard to escape.
Ooh.
We're definitely dead. We've died many times. Coming in hot. And we made it.
So for our game, we decided to go with home is safety. But not simply that, but what reminds you of that. So along the way in the game, you pick up various items. In the game, you are dreaming. You're at home, you're in bed, and the character is dreaming. We just call her Sleepy Sally. That is if he can get the game. So while you're dreaming, though, there's a nightmare chasing you. As you collect these memories of home, the nightmare itself gets slowed down, and you can eventually make your way to the house and wake up. Everything in the background is hand-drawn, whereas we had somebody else do the 3D objects in the front. Oh, hey, you made it through pretty quick.
And mind you, play this game for like 2 days straight. So.
Yeah, true. Honestly, we decided to go with something fairly simple, just because we know we didn't have a whole lot of time. We had our fair share of issues in the game. In fact, during the upload, we found multiple bugs that we ended up having to re-upload the game like 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah. So, well, that's our game.
This is really far away and I don't like leaning over, so I'm just going to talk loudly.
So when we first started, the idea was we have a game where you go away from home, experience something, whatever that may be, and you come back and those experiences change your interpretation of home. And then we realized, okay, this is just a walking simulator, and we wanted to have some more traditional gameplay. So we're like, all right, what if we have this kid with a super hyper imagination? He goes to school, he learns things at school, comes home, but the way he learns at school, he like dozes off and it becomes this side-scrolling beat-em-up brawler thing, where he's like some ridiculous character from his imagination. For example, the classic one for us was Handyman, a guy with hands for feet, hands, and for a head. And you know, with silly backstories and stuff, and the combat would have been something where it's like you had a basic ability, and then you would have abilities that, like a cartwheel, or he would have his head grow big and then slam into the ground. And
we will get to see that one, by the way.
yeah, and they would have cooldowns, kind of like an Overwatch sort of thing. Like they would have or League of Legends would have cooldowns for some of those abilities you can't use, and that would be kind of the main gameplay. And then you would beat a boss. Like the first boss is going to be a book report. You beat the book report, now you can read. So then you go home, and those things that you couldn't interact with, now you can, because you can read it. And at a later level, you go to chemistry class, and if you learned how to read earlier, you can now learn to do explosives. And then every time you take these new things home, you start seeing different things, interacting with things differently, and you would find like some deep, dark secrets, like a secret cave, and it just turns out your parents are superheroes or something. And then we realized that's a lot. So then we took the crazy characters we had, and we're just like, all right, let's just put them in a little side, kind of top-down arena fighter, and make it like two siblings having an imaginary play fight in their room with super powered characters. And then that is, we were able to get to where it could, well, you'll see it. We got it to move. One of the people to move. There's Handyman. His abilities have been like a cartwheel, which we don't have quite animated, but there's the headstand. And then his slap of fury or something. And then the other person with crazy textures that didn't quite import would have been a Captain Narhab. She would have been a pirate captain with a narwhal's horn for an arm. And one of the fun parts, we had like, a slash, shoots a gun, and then her ultimate would have been a big cannon she pulls out that shoots a narwhal, which is animated by Victor here. Do you want to show him that? Because we kind of have just a bunch of pieces. We weren't quite able to get it all put together in the end, but yeah. And then Tevin made awesome sound effects and music that we weren't quite able to implement either, which was really sexy. He did a really good job.
No, I don't think so. I think just the biggest learning experience here was like dialing down what the final product was going to be. It was taking a lot of ideas and consolidating them, making them something workable. And we had a lot, like, I think most of our team was new, like your guys' first time. It was my second time, our programmer's first time. And I think we all, learned a lot about the pipeline and the process. So it was still pretty cool. And I mean, we got a head slam, so really everyone wins.
Hey everyone. So for my what feels like home, I was thinking about like my parents. They have like this bigger like common space that we had in the not like the attic, but it was like upstairs. We had this like nice couch with like a bubble TV, and I was like, what if I just made an interactive bubble TV in a video game? So I did that, and that's what this. The game is called Sitting on a Couch. Scrolling a Sony Trinitron, which I think is the bubble TV it was. So you have this TV, and it's playing video clips, and then you can scroll the different channels. So like, I'm gonna go to channel 100. Yeah. Go to. Yeah. So there's channels that don't have anything. And it also does that weird thing where if you don't type quick enough, it'll just go to the channel that you don't want to go to. So if I'm like trying to type in 100, but I don't do it quick enough, and then it goes to the wrong channel. So yeah, it's pretty much that. I think there's like about 16 or so different channels. Yeah, so there's a lot of weird ones. I got all the clips public domain. Yeah, just want to make something a little weird, so that's pretty much it for me.
Okay, hello again. So one of the things on the team was we had two musicians, an animator and a programmer. Me being one of the musicians, and kind of helped out with some of the design, but I was like, all right, I'm just kind of sitting here and waiting around, and instead of trying to see if Unity will crash my computer again, I was just like, I'll make a card game. So the idea behind it is it's home, so your two neighbors both competing for the Home of the Year contest for the local magazine or newspaper, and you're doing it through buying, and you're trying to get votes, which are the victory points, to buy different things to put in your yard to win the best Home of the Year contest thing, while also engaging in activities that would be considered cheating by some. So the idea, the main gameplay mechanics is it's a deck builder. For those of you that don't know, you start with a basic deck of like 8 cards, and some of them have money and others are just kind of there to suck up space in your deck. And you use that money to buy, my beautiful money card. The game's keeping up with the Joneses, so I made J's as a $sign. So you would use that money to buy different cards, whether it's higher values of money, or different things in the game that'll have different impacts, and you use those. You're constantly cycling through your deck as you draw hands to try and get things to happen. And so that's how deck builders work. And the way you get victory points or votes in this is like kind of set collection. So you'll have, and this is where you get to see my beautiful, beautiful artwork. So you have different things you can put in your yard, like a bird bath, which would just give 7 victory points for the people voting for you. They're not happy because they're in an HOA. A renovated porch, like a white picket fence. Those will just give you like bulk victory points. But the other stuff would be, so an oak tree, you would have 4 different types of trees. Each different tree you got with a different amount of trees in your deck by the end of the game would give you a certain amount of points, and if you had one of each, it gives you 8 bonus points. You'd have lawn ornaments, my lovely flamingo, that would give you just 1 for each one you have, but if you happen to have all of them in a deck, you get bonus points, or 1 of each of a lawn ornament. That set gets you points, and then a garden, which is each garden you own, squared on itself would be the amount of points you get at the end, and so that would be, you're buying these cards, you're trying to use your money to buy the cards, but those victory points will go into your deck, thus making it more unwieldy. You may be trying to get enough money for that big ticket item, but instead you're going to draw 3 monies and then like 2 gardens. It's like, I can't use these, they're just gardens. And then in addition to that, you have different cards that'll do different things to your opponent, which are the fun ones, like weeds. You do it to get rid of one of your opponent's gardens, because that's, and then weed killer to defend yourself from weeds your opponent may throw at you. You can TP your opponent's yard to make them lose a turn because they have to clean it up. A garage sale to get rid of any object type items that are just taking up space in your deck that you don't want there anymore, and then landscaping for the same thing. You may notice the masking tape. I noticed some of the costs were too high, so I patched the game. You have a leaf blower, which puts leaves in your opponent's deck, just cards that eat up space with no victory points attached, and have to use a rake to get rid of them. You could take out a loan, and then you'd have to pay it off later, or you lose victory points, and then you could, a way to get any excess money out of your deck, you could donate to the contest, which would be a bribe. Other ones say like tax deductible and stuff. And the way that it would work, you have the 2 opponents, the cards, you draw 4 cards, and this would be the cards you could purchase from. And then so say I draw my hand of 5 cards, I spend, I'm fortunate, I have like 3 monies. I can either spend it on one of these guys, or I use the money from my hand on a garden, so now I have that, and then you would refill it here, and then you're just trying to collect the different sets, and the whole point is you want to keep track of what your opponent's collecting, kind of like card counting, because you don't want them to get a complete set of the points, so you're just like, oh, I gotta take that out of their hands, their ability to get that, while also trying kill, maybe they're getting gardens, because those could be really busted because it's the number of gardens squared. You want to see, oh, there's gardens, I need to get those weeds to get those gardens, or there's the option to do spring cleaning, which is where you just wipe those cards off the board and just put them back into the draw pile and draw a new set, because that could be like spend 5 gold to just prevent them from getting that complete set for a neighborhood barbecue, you know, which is another card which would be like if you get 4 of it, you get a burst of points, but no points otherwise. So yeah. It's that, a deck builder that incorporates set collection for victory points, some PvP aspects to mess with your opponent, and then also just have to keep track of what they're getting to know if you want to deny them those victory point resources, while also keeping your deck from being too unwieldy because you're trying to make it do stuff. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So next,
Alright, hi, my name is James Morris. This is my brother David Morris. You might remember us from such rational titles as Rocket Shark and When Cows Come Home. We did not get any better this year with our sanity. So this is Whale Rave. We wanted to look at it from the perspective of not our home necessarily, but you know, whales gotta live in the ocean, and we sort of destroyed that. Because our sprites really didn't match what we were expecting, and people in bottles and bags are all bigger than the whale, we sort of changed the story a little bit to humans are extinct and giants have inherited the earth. They're just as bad about litter as we are, so it still works. You have to dodge the falling bottles and rising bags, while every now and then the giant Captain Ahab will come bury us and try and spear you with his hot pink pants. And the way you win is by making it to the end of the song, which what's it actually called? Is it actually called whale-ray? Whale step, that's it. If you've ever played Elephant Raid, it's kind of like that, except whales. Let's see if you can make it. You haven't beat our own game. Nope. Hey, just last a few more seconds. No! Well, close enough. That's whale-ray.
Hello everybody. My name is Corey Martin. I am representing Very Large Team. The rest of the team isn't here. I have Drew in the credits, but he's an independent contractor. He wasn't a part of the team, but he's just as important. So, I did the programming for this game. A good man named Kyle Olson came down from Chattanooga, and he did the character art, and he did the logo, and he did the sound effects. And then a man from Germany, who I've never met, did the tile sets and the background, which is very nice. And then Drew Swisher did the wonderful music. I'm going to open the game. Okay, it's called Tiny Dad Paw. Show of hands, who here's a dad? Let's see all the dad hands. Heck yeah. Anybody here a grandpa? One grandpa. Keep it up, man. I don't mean that like ironically. I appreciate you being a grandpa. Okay, so what's happening is this is very loud. Hold on. I can't turn it down. We'll deal with it. So these bugs are showing up, and they're trying to steal your children or your grandchildren. I don't know. And so what you gotta do is you gotta stop them, right? Because if they take them off the screen, uh-oh, your kid's dead. And this is what home means to me and the rest of my team. And so what you're trying to do is get a high score, like an arcade game. Who here's played the game Donkey Kong? Who here's played the game Super Mario Brothers? I'm sorry, I mean Mario Brothers, not Super Mario Brothers. But yeah, it's an arcade game. It's pretty fun. We're going to have more enemies, about 2 more. There's going to be a spider that repelled from the ceiling. There's going to be a boy who showed up, who was actually a bug and not a boy, and he'd take kids from the background, which would be the scariest one, because you couldn't see him coming. But you know, solo programmer, and boy, it was down to the wire making this game, I tell you. I don't know what to say. There's not a lot to say about this game. Isn't it pretty, though? Look at it. Thank you. I usually do pixel art, but we had 2 other pixel artists, so that freed me up to do programming the whole time. I can't imagine programming this game while also doing pixel art. That would be crazy. Chris, how much time do I have?
2 minutes.
Thank you, John. Are there any questions from the audience?
If not, we can move along.
Well, oh yeah, high score. Let's do it, dude.
Who makes the music?
Drew Swisher. Drew, stand up. Stand up, Drew. I should mention how the game works. Anyway, progressively, more things can spawn, and also the enemies get faster. You can't see because I keep dying because I'm looking at my screen from directly above. I would not recommend playing the game like this. I'd like to talk about the importance of dads and grandpas in our society. They're very important. I love my dad very much. I don't know if he's watching this. I don't know if it's still recording. But if he is, if he were, then I love you, Dad.
1 minute.
I love my grandpa. The one on my dad's side is still alive, which is great. It's always nice to have grandparents around, you know? Unfortunately, he lives in South Carolina, so I don't get to see him very much. We decided to make it dad paw instead of either dad or grandpa to make it ambiguous, because grandpas are pretty cool, but also dads. One time in kindergarten,
I have a question actually.
What?
Can you destroy the enemy without it carrying a child?
Yes.
I notice you, like if it's not carrying a child, you kind of ignore it.
I'm gonna show you.
Okay.
Yeah. How much time do I have?
You're out of time.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is still the final build. We just couldn't get our first build to run, so this is Toddler Terror. We bounced around a couple ideas and we ended up coming up with a side-scroller where you would be chased around by your parents as you destroy the house as a toddler, and they would try to come behind you and clean up stuff and try to catch you, and you'd be put in timeout or lose the game at that point. Unfortunately, our ambitions were a bit too high, as we're both software developers that have never worked in game development or with any game development software, and we have our 2 sound guys. And yeah, so it's a little bit rough, and you can even tell by the art that this was clearly made by software developers. But we'll give it a little run here, and I'll have to give you a caveat once we get this going. Let's turn it down.
I control the volume from up here, so you need to turn it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it in play? There we go.
There we go. Okay. We're gonna have to turn it back down a minute, but I think I can get it. Okay. Okay, so we have this wonderful track playing, and unfortunately we couldn't get the sounds to bind correctly to the animations. So once I turn this down a bit, you know, like a lot of bit, and take a little move around, you can see that this the footsteps are not quite correct, but we do have him jumping, although it's a little bit jarring. He can traverse the couch and such, and you know, traverse the dresser and things. And sadly, we didn't get around to putting any interactables in here, as we were basically out of time. But he can traverse the whole house, you know, with all of its emptiness. And yeah, we basically built the entire thing from scratch using player movement script and trying to learn how to sprite and animate and all these things like on the fly. And fortunately didn't get to put all the sounds in either, so we got a lot more work out of him than went into the final game. But yeah, that's our game.
First things first, if you have an Android phone and you have the Discord on your phone, there's a link on there and you can download our game right now. You can play it. Up to 20 people can play with us right now. So the first thing we're going to show you is just the gameplay, since you can't really see it when we play it on our phone. So we came up with the title Tyrannosaurus text really early, and we just made that our theme. And we kind of stretched it and made home part of it, where he's a hacking, time-traveling dinosaur that we're trying to get home either in the future or the past. There'll be, when you join the game, you'll either be Team Dino or you'll be Team T-Rex or Team Human. And yeah, it's yeah. You have things to say? You explain.
So he's hacking his way through the space-time continuum, but his keyboard only has 6 fingers on it because he's a T-Rex. There are 6 keys on it. So you gotta match the symbols, and then Nahar forgot to put our asteroid sprite in it, so the things going down are supposed to be asteroids. But if you get the string of symbols right, then you destroy it and just try to keep going. And then the multiplayer mode has like a desktop version where it's basically like, if you're on one team, you're trying to get into one side, and if you're on the other team, you try to get into the opposite side. There's no sound effects.
So if you want to play, if you have the game open, and then just press play, and you'll be assigned to one of the two teams. And then this T-Rex will either go to the past or the future. Okay, there's a bug.
There's lots of bugs.
We just thought it would be crazy to try and make a network game in a little bit amount of time we have. Try it again. Oh, that's the thing. This has to stop. So everybody close your apps. How much time do you have?
2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, close your app and we gotta start this app first because it's okay. Yep. And then for each one you get right, he's going to either go left or to the right. The future is the humans and the past is team teamers. And if everybody fails on your team, then the other team will win. So everybody died on one team, I said. If it worked right. And that's our
Alright, so we're at the Global Game Jam, where I feel at home. This should be easy. This is an audience participation game. So shout out which one you want me to pick. Perfectionist Programmer wants to join your team.
Sorry.
Alright. Theme is good memory. Everyone has different ideas. 2D or 3D?
Yeah. Reel in.
Alright, we're gonna reel them in. Okay, we're back on track. We're at 68%. You guys are doing great. Insomnia setting up your zombie.
Break!
Three. I forgot about
It's 48 seconds left. Aspiring artist wants to join your team. We're going to do 2D this time. We're at 0%. Let them do their thing. Okay. Alright. Merge conflict. Throw it out. Your hard drive crashed. It came with nothing. 2 hours. 2 hours. I'm going to do this. Caffeine. 10% for doing it. Okay. Crunch time. 30 minutes till submission. Alright, so there's more options. You guys can play this at devger.github.io/48 seconds instead of 48 hours in seconds here.
I like that. Alright, so we're actually cosplaying as our own characters. We're slobs.
We are slobs. Because what home means to us is family, and family means community. And what community means in 2019 is the internet. So our game is set in the not-so-distant future, where Vox Media has started to transform the minds of the children. And YouTuber, Aluna, Lawyer Noah, and PewDiePie have to team up and defeat them. Someone should try to stop Vox Media! And that someone is me, Aluna, softly. Yeah! So, I did pixel art on Sprite and Pistol, painted his art on Sprite, and our music was wonderfully done by Ross Cooper. And we have some wonderful assets from fans around the world of PewDiePie and Aluna. Let's do this thing.
We wanted a cutscene, so we made it.
kids. So we knew we wanted to make a platforming game. Hayden did amazing on the layering and what's it called? Parallaxing of the foreground and background. And he made it hard. He made it really hard. Guess why he's playing with the going, not me. It's the nerds, man. It's the nerds. We got it. Yeah. Oh look, there's Pewds. Maybe he has some information for us. Beyond this void is unspeakable horror. Don't make it empty. Let us unite to save the 9-year-olds from Vox Media. Let's do it. There's Vox Media. Here you have to use your epic platforming skills and photo throwing skills to take out that TV. Of course, to only make this semi-challenging, the game is realized. Yeah, there you go. One more.
I will go that side. Basically, we can take damage so we can actually die.
Yeah, we didn't want to die here. That was bad. Alright, let's do this. Oh. Got this. Oh, wait, gotta save the timer. Come on. Alright, let's do this. Alright, quick thanks to Paul Arucho for making this amazing 9-year-olds Unite poster. Instrumental music is by Accordion Background, and awesome music for a great game jam team. That's a beautiful.
Our game is called Maybe a Virus. Is this mic working? Alright, so she's using her option screen that should turn it down a little, unfortunately, our option screen does not cover the microphone. Alright, so I guess turn those back on and we'll start the real game. So we had started off, the original idea was a totally different thing. It was still sort of a puzzle game. It was still sort of an abstract thing. It wasn't really about home as an emotional construct. But it's evolved over several iterations. We had a lot of great people helping us this weekend. It's been a great team to have. We have artists, we have musicians, we had a whole Foley stage going on. We had another programmer, and we had a friend help us with some, he calls it systematics, and it helped us really get a game together. So let's hit start and see the game. So here we have a small town. You are in charge of managing the infrastructure beneath it. It's a puzzle where you have to connect these pieces in a way by rotating them to meet these houses' needs. So if you bring down so these houses, you can see the ones that aren't being properly attended to, they're timing out. They have a little timer before they become abandoned. And here we just saw a pipe broke. So we were kind of unclear on what resource we're representing here. Is it electricity? Is it water? Is it fuel? But we do have here pipes break. It happens randomly. It can really mess up your day. So you have to adapt to that, and houses being built in new locations all over. So as everything goes on, it becomes a little more challenging. Pipes break quicker. houses come in faster, and you have to keep as much of the area lit up as you can at any given time. You get points where houses that have a connection to them, so you need to keep going back and forth to make sure that you aren't wasting your time trying to build a connection out to where there is no house, or where there's no house that needs it. As a few notes, the broken pipe mechanic, it comes back after the pipe is repaired. It comes back. It's not enough time that one pipe, if it's the pipe underneath a house, will cause that house to be abandoned. That just wouldn't be fair. When the pipe comes back, it's a new type of pipe, so there's those different shapes. So it can be something that's really useful for you, or it can be something that really messes with all your plans as they were before. So we spent a lot of time here getting our core game together, and I'm kind of embarrassed that the biggest issues we really ran into, our art was made really smoothly, the music was made really smoothly, the menus came together really nicely. I messed up on an algorithm to check which spaces are lit, and that took us so long. I'm embarrassed to be a CS student, a grad student, and be like struggling with an algorithm that should be really simple. And then we had some issue causing some lag that I think we've almost fixed. So we're looking into making this into a mobile game. One thing to note, so we have a touch interface where you can drag down on the screen or swipe down or up to see the above ground or underground. We also have, it's kind of subtle, but the music has changed. Halfway through this, the music changed from a slightly slower version of the song to a slightly faster version. You can see a pipe just burst and took out everything. So, darn it, I thought that was fixed. So, our time is almost up. It was supposed to switch to one last song that was sort of a extra rhythm version that was saying, like it was a bunch of beats to the rhythm of the song made with some industrial sounding instruments. There we go. So there it's playing. The backing track though isn't for some reason. We'll have to fix that, but that's telling you the time is almost up, which is good because our time is almost up.
Okay, thank you guys.
Hey. Hey, we're JB Games, Skylar and Jaden Stone. We've never done programming before. We've done a couple games here. First year we did a YouTube video with annotations, and we also done a couple of games throughout the years. And last year we actually just did a board game. So we're still trying to get there and figure some stuff out. So this year we kind of broke the barrier, and Jaden here actually did programming in a format called Scratch. It's an MIT website. So the gameplay idea is what home means to us is where you go to recharge. So our game is called Recharge, and your character here, he's in the home space, and you're fine while you're at home. As soon as you leave, your health starts to drop. You have a health meter, and your health meter drops when you're away from home, and when you go back home, it stops dropping. But you have to actually actively charge. So there's a sitting mechanic here, where he's actually, we thought also another thing about home was like pets. I believe John Talbot said it earlier. We have a cat character for ours. It's Cat 5, like the cable. So he's a robot cat. He has a power outlet, or a power cable tail. So it charges by plugging it into the ground. His house is like a cat post mixed with the router. So when you're inside, when you're touching the router, you don't take damage, but you have to actually actively charge, max out your health, and then you go try to fix some of the problems nearby. So there's these capacitors in his on his circuit board home, and you got to try to fix these. But if you stay away too long from his home router, he will lose health and he'll lose the game. So we'll see if Jay can fix these before your time runs out. Nope. So we got the game over screen, and we had some limitations of Scratch. You want to talk about how that kind of worked?
There's some things with that, like you can still go and interact with certain objects even though the game's over. Stuff like that, where you're still getting health even though you're dead. Things like that, it's just some other limitations, but it helps a lot to know programming logic, how you understand what's going on rather than how it's supposed to go.
Scratch is visual scripting, so I think it's similar to Stencil, some other programs. So that was really easy for us to look at. Say us, he did all the programming. I wanted to do traditional art, and then when we heard Home, I was like, oh, that sounds like a lot of inorganic, straight lines, that's not my style. And then when we decided to do computer, there was just another layer of not doing traditional art. But we did actually get some assets. We're going to show some of the assets that our Cat 5 character. Yeah, use forward. We just designed a little guy to be kind of a computer screen face cat, so there's things that represent home. He's supposed to be like wearing pajamas, but it looks more like a jumpsuit, and since he's fixing capacitors, it kind of works. So that's our game, Recharge. You can play it on Scratch. You can go to the Game Jam site, click our link, look for Recharge, and the game site. Thank you.
What's up, everybody? This is Ghost Town. In 1 second, I want you to hear wonderful menu music. Stand by.
We're Ghost Town. John Saba named our team. John, what's our team name again?
Oh, Team Crunk, right?
Yeah, we're Team Crunk.
I don't really know how that's reflected in anything about our team.
It's all Wolfgang. So yeah, we're Team Crunk. We got Ghost Town here. We're just doing a little troubleshooting.
Here we go. Okay, Drew, shut up. So we can hear your music.
Hold on.
How's everybody's game jam going? I saw some cool games today. Played one where you yell at your kids. Got a little bit of motion sickness, messed me up for a minute. I was fine. It was a very cool game.
We're gonna lo-fi it with the sound.
It's playing on this laptop.
Do you hear it over there?
Do you hear the ambient noise?
There we go. All right. This is going to be worth it. Drew Swisher, who I think is right behind me. He is.
It stopped.
Okay. Well, you heard a little bit of it. It's very good music. He worked very hard on it. Wolfgang is probably the software. Okay. That's fine. Here we go. This is the menu music for Ghost Town.
It's better the louder it is.
No, that's not true. Don't turn it up. I'm just going to stop for a second so we can all listen to this music. That's enough of that. Let's go. Alright, so this is Ghost Town. It's Animal Crossing, but you're dead. This is you finding out you're dead? Kinda. You have to do some rating, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Ronnie did a cool stunt and she hit her head, so now
She's a skateboarder.
deceased. Alright, so time to go figure out some stuff.
This is her discovering that her neighbor, Greg, who she hates, has picked up her skateboard. Greg can't hear her though, because she's a ghost. Can y'all read that? I can't tell how big it is. I'm getting some non-committal noises.
Well, rest assured, Greg stole the skateboard. It's a problem.
We're gonna throw a rock at him.
Yeah. We gotta solve this Greg situation. So that's the most important part of the game, that the skateboard flies away off the screen.
We did program it so no matter what you do, you will hit Greg with that rock. It is impossible not to. An important thing to note about the story of this game is that, I'm using story so loosely, Ronnie, the main character, is the only ghost that can physically interact with the world. Other ghosts, you go right through, don't you? So, she has to do errands for all the other ghosts who have like chores and stuff.
Like feed this cat outside.
Yeah, did you feed the cat? I wasn't looking.
Oh, I did feed the cat, yes.
Alright, that's basically the whole game.
So yeah.
It's a guided experience.
If you remember anything, remember the skateboard. Oh, RJ did the art.
He did so good.
Chris did the thinking and the writing.
That was fine. Good, not great.
Will was also a part of our group, but he's not here right now, and he also did thinking. And Wolfgang did the computer.
Everything else.
And I did the noises.
Anyway, that's Ghost Town. Look for it on Steam.
It's coming to Switch.
2024.
Okay, well I can start talking. So basically what home means to me, okay, is like finding some coins in your sofa. And so really, yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember, I made Jamecoin last year in 2018. So this year I wanted to fill like 4 diversifiers and I knocked them out with forking Jamcoin. So now Jamcoin, or the Jamcoin Chef Coin, which stands for Centralized Home Efficiency Fork. See what I did there with that thing? Brought it back. It's still a centralized currency. It's still on a single spreadsheet, but now it's editable to everybody. So anyone can go onto the blockchain and make transactions as they do. So basically, it's still much simpler than any kind of other cryptocurrency. We kind of knocked out all that silly math stuff. Just relied on making transactions and numbers. 2018 again, we had our initial coin offering. I did offer everybody 10 jam coins. So everybody who was here last year, you got 10 jam coins already. Congratulations. I did peg them to like Litecoin. So I was going to say that if you guys still had them this year, which you all do, you could change them in for 0.0005 Litecoin. However, Litecoin's price has decreased by 80%, so that's about 2 cents. And since I did say minus fees, and then I actually ordered to exchange those, you have to give me $2. So I feel really bad for Jesse, who actually was the only one who gave me $1 for 100 of those jam coins. So his jam coins worth about 18 cents. But anyways, this was kind of the original thing. How it's been improved is basically you just now go to this spreadsheet and update some values. So I gave myself like 9,000 jam coin. So again, since I feel bad for Jesse, I'm going to just subtract 1,000 from me and then go down to here. This is everybody who was here last year. So now Jesse has 1,000 new jam coin. This is a totally shareable spreadsheet. Anyone with this link can go and update their Jamcoin as they see fit. They can add, create more, subtract, all those basic things. So if you want to see the actual game page, it's there. If you want to go to the spreadsheet, there's a link. And I had a lot of fun. Hope you guys did too. The original Jamcoin, there's still a blockchain that exists from those 10 original ones. It's now just a separate blockchain. But in order to transact through that, you have to send me a postcard. So.
Hey guys, my name is Chris, this is Jade, this is Tanner. We were working on what home means to Earthlings. We were thinking when the theme came around, what does home mean to you? I kind of took a step back and said, well, the best perspective on that is an objective, third-party perspective, like an alien. So we decided we would create this game that is a stealth platformer where you are an alien operative stealing household and home objects to try to figure out what does this Earthling make of a home? Like what does it use? What does it use to sleep with? What does it use to eat and drink with? So you start out in the alien space lab with your test subject there in an empty room, and you talk to your supervisor to get started. It's a stealth game. The humans aren't allowed to see you, so you need to make sure that you pick up everything that is part of the game. So you need to pick. If the guards see you, you might get caught, but luckily he made it through the first level. And as you can see, we've added the items to our test subject's room, and it looks like he's interacting with the big fluffy thing. Let's see what the supervisor has to say about it. Surprisingly, humans prefer the uncomfortable softness of cushions and exposure to air rather than submerge themselves in an aqueous solution to rest. So, you have a list of kind of items that you're supposed to get, and you try to make sure that if the guards don't catch you, if they do see you, you just really got to make sure they don't catch you. And hopefully there's 4 items to get in this second level. Can he make it? Oh, he was caught, and oh my goodness, it looks like a test room. We don't know what's going on. Here, click on the glass, see what's going on. So you can use your transcombobulator or whatever the electronic devices, the alien devices you're using to teleport things to also reverse time and get back to the beginning of the mission. So we had a lot of fun creating it, threw together a lot of different elements in Unity. Jaden drew so much of he drew our wonderful, fantastic alien and guards and everything, and we picked up a bunch of other bits from public domain and had a lot of fun stitching it together. And Tanner helped write all of the code that made everything actually work. So, oh yeah, you created all that, yes. So, if anyone can beat our level 2, just let us know. We'll try to figure it out. Thanks so much, Roll.
Hi guys, we are. Hi guys, this is Peter and my first time doing this. We use RPG Maker. Noreen has done this before. Shout out to John Sensei down there. I don't really know you, but Noreen says you're really cool, and you've taught her a lot of things. So yeah, we kind of took ourselves a little seriously, so it's a little less lighthearted than the rest of the games here, but I'll do my best to make it as lighthearted as possible. If you have kids, maybe the dad paws and the grandmas can tell their kids to do a Bird Box challenge right now. I mean, it's really not that bad, but the first part is lighthearted, so we'll just play through right now. Yeah, it was really hard designing all of these rooms. Especially the kitchen, because we've never really used kitchens before. Yeah, we're all CS majors, except for Marines. And the annoying younger sister. So there's a sequence here where you're playing hide and seek with your younger sister. So basically the way this game is supposed to be designed is it's an RPG that's kind of mixed with a bunch of arcade games, because the protagonist is really into gaming, and that's his kind of pastime. So whenever he's doing a task, he kind of goes into this game world. So he's it's just him projecting, and he's looking for his sister right now. Oh no, things are becoming dark. Scary. literally. Yeah, so this part we didn't really have time to finish, but the basic idea behind the story is the protagonist is kind of like trying to figure out what's real and what's not real. So the way we interpreted the theme is home is not necessarily what you know it to be or what you want it to be. So he's like kind of projecting his own version of what he wants his home to be like onto the world, but in reality there's kind of like this dark past behind what's going on in his head and what's going on in the house. Yeah. So this is just like a quick maze game. We wanted it to be more of a platformer, but it was too hard for us. You can speak through this part, I don't think we really have much. Yeah, well there's like a long dialogue section here. This sort of is like, I guess, a teaser to the real game. Hopefully we can work on it in the future. Yeah, but we got like a lot of inspiration from 1 minute, is it To the Moon? Yeah, To the Moon. Like a lot of inspiration from To the Moon. It's a great game. If you haven't played it, you should play it. I haven't played it. But I plan on doing that sometime soon. 40 seconds. So he's like, if you've ever seen A Beautiful Mind, he's kind of like hallucinating some of the people in his life, like his sister and things like that. So yeah, he has like more of a troubled family and background than one would expect. Yeah. So it has like kind of like a, I guess, Doki Doki Literature Club feel. Yeah, that's where we stop for now. So, thank you guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Alright, so I only really helped conceptually on this game. These two actually made it. This is about what home means to them, because again, we're a very techie family. These are all family. We have brother, mom. So this was about what home means to a lot of computer users. So I don't know if you can tell where to click or not, but it may be flashing. So once you go into it, you just have this puzzle here of all these jumbled little shapes. You just gotta move around. So keeps you nice and safe. That's it. It's always with you. Alright. And that's it. It's really simple game.
Alright. So this game is called House Show Simulator. A lot of us used to throw concerts in our living rooms and basements. There's no sound. Oh. Pause. Anyways, well that's going on. I'm Jesse, did some of the coding. Jason did some code as well. Jason and John made kind of an evolving soundtrack that evolves with each phase of the game. Jancoin rep over here. Ryan did.
Hey there, roommate. Sorry I can't be there tonight. My mom's armadillo farm was attacked by some radical Quaker terrorists. You know how that goes. Anyways, I hope everything goes well tonight. Goodbye forever, your best friend. And my best friend, roommate.
So this game is about throwing big parties at your house and all of the annoyances that come with that. So you have a stress meter that increases with incidents that are timed throughout the night.
Someone, I don't know who, they just TP'd your neighbor's house. Your neighbor just fed that person to their pet Memphis Grizzlies. It's weird, but you need more toilet paper in the bathroom now.
So you get audio cues that tell you what's wrong, and the more problems that are unsolved, the faster your stress meter goes up. So I heard that we need to get more toilet paper, so I'm looking around for toilet paper. And then you get a little spotlight above items that are part of the puzzle. There you go. So.
Brother, you're looking a little stressed there. I think you just maybe need to hit the keg. You know, take a chill pill. Take it from, you know, like 11 down to 7.
So you get a little bit of a lifeline. If your stress meter gets a little too high, you get 3 cups from the keg to help chill you out.
Hey man, go past the bucket around. We been over from Australia last night, maybe you can.
So, trying to get your friends to give donations to bands, obviously, one of the hardest things in life. So maybe this guy will donate. This lady.
Oh, excuse me, I seem to have some money for you. Would you handle it?
There you go. Solve that problem.
There's people outside trying to get in, and they can't get in because the door is locked. Please go and lock the door. There might be Scientologists after them.
You gotta keep the door locked. You only want your friends at your party. And these are my best friends. Samurai woman. Strong knight, my personal favorite. And of course the robot triplets. One of which very quietly.
Space. You need to go get them a new microphone. Go get the band a new microphone.
The robot has a very, very soft monologue if you get close to it. So if you play it later, check that out. I didn't make it through my list of names earlier. John, Jason, Joe, Jesse, Dan, and Ryan. Alright, so now the band starts. The party builds up a little bit. Gets a little steamier in there. Makes it a little bit harder to find the items that you're looking for. These little dudes, they're great. We got all our art off the asset store. This is the best tool in the game, by the way, to clean up the spill. You see our spotlight, we get this rag on the slider, and it completely skews, and then it just floats away. But it's very good at cleaning up beer spills, as you'll see. Boom, solved.
Flip the breaker! Flip the breaker! The breaker! Breaker!
If your stress meter gets all the way up, then the cops come, shut everything down, stand on people's heads, block the keg. Very upset. Coming through the window. Yeah, so we did the open source diversifier as well. We used a library called VRTK, which helps you prototype in VR, and otherwise we did everything in-house. That's it.
Russell is going to be my very lovely assistant today. He worked on sound, George helped me with art, and I'm not sure if Trevor Kimball is here or not. He helped with music. So basically I got my idea like the day before Game Jam started because I was reading through all the diversifiers, and then when they announced the theme of home, it just worked with it, so I went with it. And I used an open source plugin in Unity called Fungus. I learned it basically in 3 days and coded about a 15-minute game. It's an all visual coding. I don't code at all, so I really recommend Fungus. And basically, the player character is a mage who ran away from a war that was in their home. They, along with their comrades, awakened some angry god by what they were doing. The player character ran to this village, got so afraid the angry god was going to follow them, and put a spell on the town to hide everyone and themselves. And they put everybody to sleep, basically. So you are finding out what you did. And the different ways that you do that is you find hidden objects, the belongings of a girl who lives in this house. Her parents are off fighting the war. And then later on, you can enchant the environment, and you reveal some people who are trapped there, and they have a conversation with you. So yeah, this is really dark. But basically that's it, and like I said, I was really inspired by a lot of the diversifiers. The 4 that I actually listed were public domain, Gormenghast with the the decaying atmosphere and setting. I did not use like the 19th century words and phrases, but since I would not have time to do art and fiddle around with a pixel editor, I decided I'll just take stuff off the internet. And I use Creative Commons photographs for all the different scenes, and I also used portraits, 19th century portraits for all of the NPCs. And George actually made a mesh to make the portraits look more like engravings. And also the items that you find in this particular scene I also took from different scenes, and also like you saw Russell, did you click on the stove yet?
Yes.
Yeah, so I basically made a sprite. The stove was a part of the photograph, and made a sprite on top of the stove where you would find the skillet, which was also a found image. So I had the open source fungus, I had public domain, I had meanwhile, which was the one where all the action's happening somewhere else, what's going on here in your game, and I'm trying to remember what the 4th one is now. Oh, secret room, yeah, super secret stash. So I don't know if we'll have time to get to the hidden room, but yeah. Yes. And in this particular scene, you must speak to the soldier first, and I did say soldier first. That's how you get to the hidden room. Otherwise, you'll meet somebody else here who doesn't have time for your nonsense, and she banishes you into the present. You actually are in the present. They're trapped in time, basically.
Got 1 minute.
Oh, there we go. And this is the bad ending.
We're out of time, but is it over?
Almost.
Okay.
There it is, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Forrest Starling. And I'm Dan Nanto. And this is our game, House Party. We had a similar idea where that you would try to throw a house party and then not get in trouble with your parents rather than the police so much. We spent a lot of time on the artwork and got some of the basics of the engine done. We were doing this in Python and Pygame.
but don't actually really have any music nor functionality. So. If I hold down Shift here, I can show the different the walls that we're gliding into and the kind of hitbox of the character. You can see you can walk on top of the table. We never got around to actually making a second layer that went above everything. I don't know what to say on it, I guess. Okay, that's fine.
Alright, how's it going, everyone? So, our project is called Homesick. We thought about what home was and kind of we're thinking about different phases of your life and the different experiences you have and how home can always be a place you return to and it changes as you go along. So the art you see here, this fantastic art, was made by Caroline. She did a great job. Unfortunately, she had quite a few things that we weren't able to put in because of time, but she did a great job. This music you hear is all Jonathan. He's the man with the keyboard, so if you ever need some music, hit him up. I'm sure he'd be happy to help you out. And Al here did all the programming. Poor guy was stuck programming it all by himself while we sat there helplessly, wishing we could help him out. And I mapped out the level and kind of designed how it goes. So, as you can see, it's kind of a basic platformer with some shooting mechanics. We made the mistake of having a very ambitious ideal when we started and had to fight the clock at the end to get something together that worked out. But I think Al and everyone else did a really good job. And yeah. Okay. So some of the ideas for stages we had were, oh yeah, there's a box here. Apparently he doesn't know what that game is, but we were thinking about trying to design some of the stages based on stages in people's lives. So like this kind of represents school when you're a kid, and there's some like bullies and stuff. And as you get older, you have college and even older work. Oh yeah, here are some of the sprites that she worked on that unfortunately we didn't get to add in. Different enemy types. We've got the vicious cheerleader. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you'd like to try it out, feel free. We always love to hear feedback. Thank you all very much.
My name is Andrew Becker. So I was the producer and host of a pro wrestling show back in 2012. One of our episodes, we had the announcers holding video game controllers, and so I figured it would be fun to do the exact opposite. So the very last episode we had a very terrible draw, and we just said the apocalypse happened. It was a sellout show, but we got raptured. And in the episode, one of the characters gets choked out, so we could have a dream sequence and bring him back. And here we are 7 years later, finding our way home.
Things sure have been awesome here since the revolution.
Sad. It is you for all this time.
Casey Rush.
Well, I'm glad things have been going so well for you because I'm homeless now because of the Sultan of Southern style.
We better get to the bottom of this. Let's go find Shane Andrews. I think he's over here. Hey, what's this? Ooh, this looks exciting. Well, that was weird. Okay, let's go see Shane Andrews now.
Becker, the Sultan of Southern style has overthrown the prince! Why didn't he overthrow the king?
The king's been way too overdone. So So now the character, or the player gets to decide if he is going to hit me or not. He hits me with my default.
I used to be such a good kid, now I'm afraid of any candy bars.
Either way, the story advances this time.
Revolution continues after this intermission. Can't find it.
Probably some other mini game where we're looking for artifacts.
Everybody shut up. Listen. Well, isn't that just perfect? Great Sultan of Southern style. He's got it all figured out. And here I was all this time, working and grinding. No, I never went to the gym, sure, but I had so many characters. I had the tree wizard. I was the Scot. I was the grocery store clerk. I had it all working out for me. I was gonna go places, and now it's too late. Time's run out. If only I had more time. I got it. It's time. What? Go! Casey! Hey! Casey! 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 Oh, okay. Wait. He's all right. Oh, Josh! Casey! You being a jerk? You're a jerk!
And that brings us in.
What? Are you okay? What? You got knocked out. Yeah. I had the weirdest dream. Yeah? What? Yeah. You were a rapper, and just proved that you and Tony ran the whole thing.
That's just
You were a referee.
That's ridiculous.
And you were a banana. Banana?
And then run the show, and that allows the story to go in any kind of different direction if you want to do it.
You fit, but something seems off.
All right, so I'm Russell Maringer. I'm actually here representing NPAL Audio. I'm a professional sound designer.
You haven't found your place.
And in my free time, I also make video games. This is called Perfect Fit.
Sometimes you feel torn.
And it has to do with fitting in, what home means to me, fitting in. I did the programming and sort of idea man, and also sound design, and Giannis over there is the voice. And essentially, as you go through the game, and Toya is helping me inside the game, and essentially what you do is a puzzle game. So where parts of you gets broken off, or parts of the player character gets broken off in order to descent into the next realm, essentially. And you probably didn't notice earlier, but the dialogue was talking about you, actually saying you, and here there's no pronouns.
Just search a little longer.
And then eventually he starts talking about himself, sort of revealing to the player that the dialogue is talking about the player character itself, which is just a hexagon. I essentially just took a whole lot of the diversifiers and I probably have 6 or 7 diversifiers, and just tried to make it fit. The perfect fit. And at some point, there actually are puzzle decisions that you can make that make it so that you cannot continue. So that little spinning triangle, you'll have to click in order to restart the level. Hint, hint.
Just search a little longer. Time and time again.
I was kind of going for the Zen feel. Simple puzzle. dialogue will also, the voiceover will give you hints on how to solve the problem. So some of them might be a little less obvious than others.
This place is so large. I feel so small.
So the previous level was, he said, time and time again, and all of the puzzle pieces that you use in order to solve it were hourglass shapes. It also sort of brings light to the cyclical nature of the game. Once you beat it, it actually starts over, and instead of him talking about you in pronounless phrases, he's talking about himself.
Things were simple.
One minute left.
Okay, we're almost there.
I'm not perfect. What is? It's actually just a blend mode. So I made this in stencil, and this is running in Flash. So the blend mode works, but I also built it for Android and Windows, and it doesn't work. So the overlay doesn't work because they don't support. This is the closest I've been to home.
Yeah, and then it starts over and he starts talking. Like before it said,
I feel I haven't found my place.
So I feel I haven't found my place. He used to say, you feel you haven't found your place, and now he's talking about himself.
Sometimes
less than 10 seconds.
And that's all. It just keeps going. You never stop.
All right, everybody, can you hear me? All right, so we had this great idea to have this grumpy old man kicking things off his lawn. The meeting, he's got a flamethrower now, so if anything comes on his lawn, he can torch it. But we never got the flames to come out, so something happened there. As you can see, when dogs poop on the lawn or balls come across the lawn degrades in quality. So now it's kind of brown and dying. But people are now afraid to come on the lawn because he's got a flamethrower. So they're not even coming on anymore. Oh, sorry, I put the sound on.
So Giannis actually did the voice for this as well, for the old man.
Yeah, he channeled his inner old grumpy man. It was great. I wish I could get the sound working on this. So you could never tell that this was a middle-aged man, I don't think. So he's aching and groaning as he's moving around his lawn. I need my medication. You see medication pop up on his lawn? Yeah. It's not really speed. It's supposed to be arthritis pills so he can move better, but it does act like speed for him, so he gets a little turbo boost from that. We did this all in stencil. We didn't test it very well because I don't know how to test in stencil. It just kind of doesn't work, so we use Russell as our debugger, as well as my daughters. Their first game jam did all the art here. It's awesome. My son Dexter did the background annoying music. You need to get my pills. And Russell helped us tie it all together. We also had Giannis doing all the sound effects and stuff with us. Rakesh, he's our...
This old man still got it. I got you now. Gee, buddy.
This weekend he did a great job.
Turn up the heat.
We have a health bar here. have this on each other. You guys can go play it. We're gonna keep working on this because I think this needs to be.
Oh, that's so much better.
That we have for it. I think it's a great game. Anyway, that's it. So anybody?
I need my medication.
Hello, my name's William. I'm representing Weasel Games. Our game is called Zoo 51, and it's a puzzle-based escape game. So you play. When we thought of the theme, what does home mean to you? We thought that home is the place where you want to return to, and so you play as an alien named Leon, whose goal is to get out of this evil facility and get back home. And the facility's name is Zoo 51. It's a place where they collect aliens. So Leon can move forward one space, or if you wait a turn, he can dash. And yeah. So the enemies in this game, there are 2 of them currently, and that's because that's all we could program. The yellow guy is the zookeeper named Bert, and the gray guy is the robot Robert, because it's a robot version of Bert. Sadly, Bert, in addition to being a lazy zookeeper, is completely blind, so whenever he encounters a wall, he just turns right. Robert, on the other hand, is a robot and can see, so when he spots Leon, he follows it. He first goes to where he's last spotted him and follows along the path. Yeah. Which is what you saw in level 1 when he did. Unfortunately, we have a couple of bugs, and some doors not disappearing when you pick up key cards, which we'll have in later levels. Yep. So the artwork for this game is done by my friend Zach here, who's playing currently. The music for our game, which is great, is made by Lincoln over here. And I did a lot of the programming, although I got a bunch of help from these 2 in fixing some errors that would pop up and just general cleanups or stuff. So yeah, like there, the gate disappeared, and rather than becoming a normal floor tile, it became spiked tile. And you can use the dash mechanic to help make sure that the robots don't spot you. Or bait them around. Great. But yeah, that's it.
This level is pretty hard, so I might not be able to beat this presentation.
Hello, I'm Preston Graham. I'm Garrett Ward. So I spoke about my idea about the surviving the apocalypse kind of thing, you know, at your home. And so, you know, you're just crafting at home here, a meteor has crashed, the air is contaminated, trying to build the gas mask and survive. Garrett made the awesome music by the way. You go outside, you start to die. The health bar goes down. You want to play again? Oh yeah, that was John Saab's dog. We tried to do the diversifier where you share assets, but that was as far as we got. You have to go inside your house to gain health back. Oh, and we have a gas mask on now. Yeah. The gas mask makes you die slower. Yeah. Yeah. So you can go out further. Like some of the items you have to get to survive are further out. So the idea was you would just keep getting stuff and kind of get more of a range. What an awesome speed transition.
So my name's Justin, this is my daughter Maya. We made Hermes Last Stand, which is a life and trials and tribulations of hermit crab. So most of you probably know hermit crabs live in shells. So the goal is to find your home in a shell and try to survive. And Maya did almost all the art, some of the background. So you found your shell, and the blue bar at the top is your shell shield, so to speak. And you have seagulls, so you need to hide in your shell so you don't get attacked. So you run around and try to find little food bits, fill up your red bar at the top, which is your life. But as you eat food bits, the green bar is you're growing. Eat more food bits. Don't get attacked. Two little red eyes and seagulls. Uh-oh, your shell broke. Let's try another one. So, you get it, but she accidentally popped out of her shell, so you just keep walking. So if you don't hide, the seagull will attack you, and so her shell broke. And you got another one. Here we go. I think we're just gonna die. We have as you get bigger, your health goes down longer because quicker. I mean, because